Today, I want to take my bearing from to the First Corinthians chapter 8 and 9. It said, "Take care that your freedom does not become a stumbling block to the weak in faith." That sentence, my dear people of God, captures the whole posture I've been talking about within the past few days. Let me say this clearly. Faith grows in stages like a house under construction. Some people are on the foundation level, some are on the lintel level, some are on the window level, and some are working on the interior finishes. So what seemed to be harmless to someone could further along weaken the faith of those still building. What seemed like freedom to you could further weaken the faith of those still maturing in faith. So when Paul talks about changing his behavior out of concern for others' faith, he's describing an important, a pertinent responsibility for anyone who has influence, be it a leader, be it a pastor, be it a priest, be it as far as you have influence. So this is not primarily about legalism or trying to police other people. No, it's about stewardship. And there's a lot that comes with stewardship. So influence carries a ripple effect. A comment you can make, a photo you post, a joke or a business decision travels farther and is interpreted differently when it comes from someone in a visible role. That is why you must be careful if you are leading people, if you are in a place of responsibility. So leaders and ministers are not required to live under constant fear. That's not the case. But they must make choices that through the lens of who is watching and how those choices will be read. They must understand that people that are watching and following them would interpret their actions very differently, and it could affect their community. Right. So let us think about the people in your community who are still young in faith. How empathetic are you to the vulnerable, to those carrying old wounds? You see, faith, religion itself, people are so hurt in different ways on religion. People have different opinions, so you must be careful. Small things that you can do as a pastor, as a priest, or as a leader can trip them off. An often remark about lifestyle choices. A tattoo, for example, like Okonkwo, a celebrity night that ends up on social media, a business practice that appears to prioritize profit over people, can all be stumbling blocks. A priest in Benue State, categorically denying the genocide of his people, claiming to be a priest. He has become a stumbling block. So leaders who want to protect communities ask how their actions will land with the least mature or the most fragile member, and then they have to adjust accordingly. These things must be spoken about. So visibility raises stakes. When your life is public, when your life is a public life, the gap between what you say and what you do becomes more pronounced. You cannot escape. There is no escapism there. It's just logic, it's common sense. When your life is a public life, it becomes pronounced. So hypocrisy damages trust quickly. If you preach compassion, but in reality, you don't practice it, it causes questions. But if you practice it, it teaches integrity. It shows that in your relationship, finance, and even online presence, so this goes a long way. Consistency does not require perfection. It does require willingness to acknowledge mistakes and to correct them publicly, and not coming to use the scripture to justify your mistake. So this kind of model humility shows others how to recover from failure without losing faith. Why the Catholic Church, talk about saintly life and Saint this, Saint Anthony said, it's not because those people are pure people. No, they were human beings. They lived human life. They had human lived experiences. And that's what makes me connect with them, because it makes me want to strive to holiness as well. So restraint is not the same thing as joylessness. Oh, I'm not free. I want to be... No. So leaders can celebrate and enjoy life at the same time. You have a responsibility. So the key question here is whether freedom builds up community or cause confusion. Sometimes, restraint is a loving sacrifice. Choosing not to post party photos when someone in the congregation is struggling with loneliness. Declining public endorsements that would polarize the church. Like we have many priests now in Benue State actively seeking for political office. Actively avoiding jokes or language that trivialize deep hurt. Many of you've not connected with people suffering. You have no idea what it means to suffer in the world. So these churches are not about controlling people. They're about creating spaces where more people can grow, and communication matters. It's less of what we say, but how we say them. Communication could be verbal or non-verbal. So it matters. So when you refrain from something for the sake of others, talk about why it is appropriate. Say plainly, I'm avoiding X because I don't want to create a stumbling block for newcomers. Transparency prevents misunderstanding and invites people into the value behind the choice. It also models thoughtfulness and decision making for other leaders. Instead of making a decision that you have to come online to start explaining yourself, like Bonabo will say, you go explain tire. It's not a good way of living for a minister or a leader. You don't do that. Reflective thinking, reflective practice, very important. Prudence, wisdom. Wisdom, they say, is profitable to direct. So I'll give you practical, steps that you can take. First one, pause before taking public actions. If an event, a post, or purchase will be visible, imagine how different member of your community will receive it first. Look at the end goal before taking that action. Ask 3 quick questions. Will this strengthen or weaken someone's faith? Will it create confusion about what the community values? Could it harm someone who is vulnerable? Those 2 questions are very important. So you have to also build a circle of accountability. Many of these guys today, many of these our leaders today, they don't fear anybody. Why? Because they are not accountable to anybody. They don't fear any authority. They fear nothing. Consult with peers when in doubt and invite honest feedback. Many of them can't take feedbacks. They are so prideful, so egoistic. Set clear boundaries and explain them. Personal standards make life simpler for everyone and reduce misrepresentation. And be ready to apologize and repair, not to come with pride and ego to tell us why the Bible is saying this and why the Bible is saying that. That is not exegesis, that is exegesis. So you balance the essential, avoid legalism, and avoid casual disregard for influence. The goal is not to eliminate freedom, but to exercise it with prudence, responsibility. Leaders who embrace this posture cultivate communities where people are freer to grow, not just constrained by scandal and confusion. What you have done might not be scandalous to you, but to someone who just converted from, let's say, Islam or ATR and joined Christianity today, it could be scandalous. Many of us came into Christianity very clean and naive mind. So a little thing can trip us off. So exercising restraint for others' sake enlarges rather than diminishes freedom, because it protects the space in which faith can mature. So at the heart of this matter is service. Leadership is service. Oh, Jesus. Ministry today has turned from, to ministering to the people through God. It has become minister-centered. Ministry today has become minister-centered instead of the people-centered. So we must understand this. Alright? So it is about sacrificial care for other people, spiritual welfare, and the willingness to forego personal preference for the sake of someone else's faith in a concrete expression of love. Every creation in the world is a divine expression of God's love. So it's a practical commitment to preserve trust and create a culture where growth and faithfulness can flourish. So if you lead, steward your influence. Think about those whose faith is fragile. Imagine your choices land. Communicate your reason and be ready to make humble repairs when you miss the mark. Do that consistently, and you help construct a community where lives are built up rather than torn down. I hope that this message makes sense to someone out there. Leadership is beyond you. It's beyond you. You are called to stewardship that has to do with huge, humongous sacrifices that you must make. May God help us all. and may we drop our pride. Shalom.